Welcome back, guys, to part 2 of episode 11. And yeah, for this part, the first part we talked about kind of like the ethics behind the morality, or not the morality, just like the ethics of being rich, right? Should you be allowed to have that much money? What's the difference between being greedy or just living comfortably? And with this part, we're going to talk more along the lines like where the economy's headed in the future, in the near future, and in like the future, like way along the lines, like 20, 30 years down the line. And before we get started with the questions, we just want to mention one more time that we're not financial advisors. So please make your own financial decisions. And yeah, we'll get started. So in this part specifically, Jesus, so before we talk about like where's the economy headed in the near future, how do you think COVID has impacted not even just the workplace, but the economy?
So I think because of COVID, when Trump was in office, did the CARES Act, which was around like if I'm not mistaken, around like $1.4 trillion, right? Mm-hmm. So like you had all these bailouts, you had money, just influx of money, and now with President Biden, we have the infrastructure bill. It's like $800 billion. So it was everything. It started from COVID and all these bailouts and trying to bring up the economy, and I think it has now backfired. All this money printing. And I believe it's like 80%. I may be wrong, but just to play it safe, I would say 60% of the money, like the U.S. dollar in circulation right now, was printed during COVID.
Wow, Jesus Christ!
In the last 4 years.
So that's it. Definitely gives you like a perspective of like if inflation.
Highest inflation.
That the Fed thought that inflation was transitory, meaning that it's just for now and it's gonna pass by. But the Fed just announced that they were obviously wrong about these things, and that they're trying to battle like this like monster of inflation through interest rates and all of this, and we can all testify that it's really not doing much. Right? They're cutting down. They just raised interest rates on 30-year mortgages. It went from like 3.5%, almost 5%. Double. It's like 5.5. So the Fed is trying to do the best that they can to try to fight inflation. Ultimately, I think things are going to get much worse. But we're battling through inflation, all of this because of COVID, and COVID was really in my opinion, what started the ball rolling. And the printing of money just never stopped, and it was okay in the beginning because stocks went up.
That takes some time.
But once like the dust settles and you try to repay some of this, you try to balance the sheets and reduce deficit, everything just comes crumbling down.
Exactly. And at first, everyone had money. That's why everyone got into stock during COVID. Everyone had $1,200. And it was like, wait a minute, Tesla went up. I'm gonna get some Tesla.
And I think the pinnacle of like the whole like stocks community, and even the crypto community, the pinnacle was when people were spending $500,000 on NFTs.
Everyone.
The NFTs were like a hot spot, and like it became to a certain point where the market was really saturated with all these people just trying to make a quick flip. And back to your question of like how COVID influenced the economy. We're having probably one of the worst inflations in like 60 years. And I think it did start because of COVID. It started because of all this printing of money, and definitely that.
I didn't even know
we
that.
We added I believe it's like 80% of the US dollar in circulation was printed during COVID.
We're past the point, I believe, than the 2008.
This is nothing in 2008.
Really?
We're at a higher inflation right now than we were at 2008.
Damn.
Way past it. Gas prices these gas prices haven't been seen in the longest.
I think the last time that we were at this record high inflation was in the 1960s. And when Reagan was in office.
That's crazy. Why do you think gas prices are so high right now?
The funny thing is that the Biden administration tries to blame it on Putin, but in essence, we only import about 4% of our oil from Russia. But it is a lot of greed from corporations because I believe we do have enough oil, but they're probably just releasing a small amount to keep you know, to keep the profits high. If you look at the stock market this past year, for the top five performing stocks, look at them. Most of them are oil companies. Look at ExxonMobil, you look at Shell, you look at all these companies. They're at record high profits right now.
I read up on that. It's like they bump up the gas prices when everyone thinks the gas prices will go up. And then everyone starts blaming like the president or the war, and they actually just doing it themselves, pumping it up.
It's all corporate greed.
But like, my question is like, how is that even how is this even allowed? Right, we're at the point where people can barely afford like the cost of living on their own, and now you're adding all these extra fees like higher, more expensive gas or more expensive groceries. It's like, at what point like can you draw the line? Like at this rate, they're gonna drive the American people just like bankrupt.
And that is exactly their goal. Because like I said before, the system is very well designed, and it's only gonna increase the gap between the wealthy and the poor. It's only gonna keep increasing, and it's gonna reach to a certain point where it's almost like a dystopian society. And America is like the land of the extreme, you know. The richest people, top 10 richest people in the world, most of them are from America. Yet America has the highest like homelessness like percentage in the world. You know, America is the land of the extreme. Gap, it's just like one side or the other. The middle class, it's.
And the reason why like it's technically allowed to happen is because there's all these other excuses. Like there's the war, there's the president, which is Biden. There is COVID that just happened. There's like that you mentioned on supply chain. Supply chain. The shortage on truck drivers. There's all these other things to blame that they can just say, oh, it's due to that. You know.
And maybe some of the things are, but it's really hard to look away and say like, oh, gas prices are so high because of this, because of that. When like oil companies are profiting so much right now at a time where everyone is like basically
because it's just not gas prices, it's like crude oil. Like crude oil is what's been
and we're relatively like oil prices are relatively
to crude oil.
We pay relatively. We have around one of the like lowest inflation rates on oil compared to other countries. So like I mean it is a lot of factors, but I think a key in here is like corporate greed, and maybe we won't see like as high like oil prices if it wasn't for corporate greed. But I do think that like gas prices and crude oil has gone up, and it probably will go up. It's just happening all around the world.
Because I feel like this is kind of like a sign. Like if gas prices can go up, then what stops like an electric company from billing you more every month? You know. Because technically they're not governments, you know.
They're private entities.
They're private, so they can just jack up the prices when they feel like it.
With utilities though, it's more government controlled. It's like the government has more to do in
it does
in the utilities.
So we won't see something like that in the near future.
Not probably due to corporate greed. Not really, since it's more the government's
just more like social inflation.
But even look at rent right now, you know.
Rent's crazy right
because now. Also the thing with the politicians is that these oil companies, they're the ones that pay for the campaigns. Their campaigns. And
then they have this third party where companies can make direct like payments to politicians. They have to go through this third party, and then the third party pays the politicians, and all of this is made public. But every major politician, Nancy Pelosi, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, even President Biden, and even Bernie Sanders, they've all taken money from corporations. And if you look at these amounts, they're all like $300,000, almost $1 million. I think Hillary and Trump had the highest corporate donations where it was like $900,000.
Damn.
And it's like I said, the system is designed, and it's really hard to escape that.
And guess what politicians have to do? They have to make laws that favor these companies, or else they won't sponsor the campaigns. There's no contract saying that it's not illegal, but that's technically what's going on.
So then how can we expect the government to be in our best interest if
the government pockets will never be in our best interest? It's a fight you can win, and it's a fight it would never change. And that's what's wrong about the whole system with America is that the whole two-party system it's all the same, and that's why like it's an illusion to make people think that like
on one side or the other.
one side. No, it's like two heads of the same snake.
Yeah, like
two heads of the same coin.
Yeah.
Like with this month's Pride Month.
Yeah,
it's like people. It's like I've been seeing a lot more people saying it's like all these companies just faking Pride Month. Like they just change the logo to rainbows.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're paying politicians that are against like pride related laws
and like LGBTQ, like you know,
exactly
and stuff like that.
I feel like it's because they know no one's gonna go out their way and do research. You know.
Yeah, but now people are doing it. People are digging into these documents and are spilling the truth out there.
That's good.
And the thing is that like, it's really hard to like, even knowing the truth and even everything coming to light, how do you fight like a private entity like that with billions of dollars at hand? Like
you're making
anyone who speaks up is just gonna
say you against a team of lawyers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can only do so much, you know. So I say like the system it's designed to cater to the rich. It's designed to cater to the politicians and
and the thing is like the people that support it the most are usually people from like the lower class. Like we see that in like riots, protests. It's usually the lower class people that are willing to go up to these places. And sometimes the best way of combating these companies is just not purchasing their products.
Yeah.
But lower class people don't have any other options. If those companies are the ones that offer
the lower cost,
the cheapest, it's like they have no other option.
So how do you escape something like that? It's like a loop.
Yeah.
It's like you just can't escape like not feeding into these corporations. Let's say that you don't want to support Exelon. What other like maybe Shell like very few alternatives. Yeah, and if you really look at like some of these like major brands like the people who make the Kellogg cereal and the Johnson Johnson and like all these companies, it's really just a group of like 8 companies that own everything.
Yeah,
when it comes to food, you know, household items, it's like
Johnson Johnson. They own a lot.
They own a lot of companies.
So what can you do then? At the end of the day, nothing. You just accept it for what it is, and you just keep working.
Yeah, it's like, and it's a sad truth. It's like the best way that you can prepare for that is like through financial freedom. Through financial, it's like I don't really see any other solution. You're not gonna ever bring down these corporations, and you know, and even if you do manage to bring down one of these corporations, maybe the name,
they'll
just start another
new name.
Yeah,
like DuPont.
Yeah,
that's crazy. That's a whole story. But so if you can't really do anything today to combat this system except, you know, make your own money and have that financial freedom, so can you say in a way that society right now is kind of promoting people to be greedy with their money, to have like a greedy like point of view, so that they can step out of this kind of like
the rat race?
Yeah,
I do think that money does play a huge role in like your decision making and stuff like that. And you know, the best way to combat this dilemma where you have to feed into the system, it's like where you have to work, where you're living paycheck to paycheck. Maybe you won't achieve it in your lifetime, but it's definitely worth a try to, like, you know, try to set up your kids for success, and so they don't have to, you know, have the same struggles as you do. But when it comes to like the whole financial system and everything, like I feel like the best alternative, and especially not nowadays with like the Gen Z generation, is probably like cryptocurrencies and like Bitcoin. Because the beauty about Bitcoin, you can't create nor like, you know,
destroy.
Like maybe you lose some of the coins, but you know, you can't create more than 21 million. There's only 21 million Bitcoins out there, and you know, there's only so much. It's a fixed supply, and the beauty of it is that all transactions are made public, so you can see every single transaction.
But you're still anonymous, right?
Yes, it is anonymous.
Yeah.
So when Bitcoin becomes like
a currency,
like an official currency, like in the U.S., it's regulated and everything. They would cut the middleman, which is the banks. So now maybe you can create like contract on Ethereum network, saying that you can lend 1 Bitcoin to someone, and then they'll pay you interest to you, or you know, you tie that up with like other properties like real estate and stuff like that. So you don't really need to go to the bank for that. So you just need to create a contract. You put it on the Ethereum network, and you can be sort of your own bank, and that's the beauty of Bitcoin, and that's the reason why I think that cryptocurrencies are probably here to stay.
Yeah.
And you want, yeah.
No, go ahead. No, I was just gonna add, like, to send you money.
Yeah.
There's no way of me sending you money without a bank in the middle, unless I give it to you cash. Like, I can send it through Zelle.
Yeah.
Zelle is bank. Cash App bank.
PayPal.
Everything. It's a bank.
But if you give me your wallet address, I could just send you Bitcoin to your specific wallet address.
That's it. Send it directly to you
through the Bitcoin network.
That's crazy.
And that's the beauty of Bitcoin.
Do you think it's gonna be here to stay because it's just made the market cap is just so high that there's no way for it to like collapse? Because people say like Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are so like volatile that they could just drop in an instant because it's not like actual money.
For Bitcoin to drop in an instant, everyone would have to sell at the same time.
Okay.
So like everyone would have to sell for dollars, and I don't really see that happening because a lot of people, first of all, like believe in like the Bitcoin, and you know, if you look at El Salvador, they used to have the US dollar as a national like,
they made official.
currency.
They made Bitcoin an official
But
currency.
now they changed it with Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is like their national currency, and the president is doing all these things to like, you know.
Yeah.
And Salvador has improved greatly financially.
Really?
Yeah, because of it. They detached from the maybe not completely, but they have offered an alternative to the US dollar.
Because now in the US, if you want to take, like, if you make gains on Bitcoin, you gotta pay like 40% tax on it.
On short-term games, yeah.
Yeah, it's counted as a like an
Property
asset.
tax.
Yeah, it's counted
Like
Well,
like
in Salvador, it's like an official currency, so you just take it's money. You just take the money out.
There's no taxes on it?
No, it's like a currency. It's like the dollar.
Oh wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But isn't there like a huge delay in like the time like I can get like a Bitcoin from you?
No.
No,
I thought it was like
because
10 minutes. Like you have to wait before.
the
you get
way
it.
it works is that the Bitcoin miners,
Yeah.
they have like all these graphics card running all this.
Yeah.
That's what it is. They make like the Bitcoin. They make the blockchain.
Oh,
So when
so
you make a transaction,
okay.
those graphic cards process that transaction.
Yeah. And the thing with like, and the beauty of like why Bitcoin can get hacked is because for you to hack Bitcoin, you have to hack every
All of
single
them.
computer at the same time.
All of them.
Oh wow.
Because it's like everyone has a piece.
Yeah. And then it's like what Bitcoin does is like it creates like this ledger, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that there's two transactions with the same wallet address, and one is fake, one is, and one tries to hack the network. It verifies it like through all the Bitcoin networks. So like if I have a computer with my Bitcoin network on, my computer automatically sees a transaction and tries to verify that, make sure that all the books are the same. If one of them isn't, then the transaction won't go through.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's really like the nice thing about Bitcoin is that it can't get hacked.
Yeah. But also another reason why it's so volatile is because there's like the whales.
A lot of market
like,
manipulation right now.
Yeah, whales is like they hold these huge amounts of Bitcoins, right? And like he said, they can't sell it all at once because that would just collapse and they will lose all their value. So they sell like big chunks at a time, or they buy big chunks at a time. That's why you see like big spikes and big spikes. And also like you see a lot of like people posting videos. It's like on like altcoins, like all these other alternate coins, like Dogecoin, Shiba. He's like, look, I had millions of these coins before it blew up, right? And then it blows up, and they say they're millionaires, but they can't take the money out. They can't sell the coins because if they sell all their coins, that would just crash a coin, and then they will sell nothing.
Yeah, it'll go down before they're even able to sell.
Before they
that happens with a lot of like small cap, like altcoins. Yeah, that's why you gotta be careful.
So it's like they're not really millionaires. They do in there, but once you try to sell, they would just lose all its value.
It's kind of interesting how that works. And a lot of these copycats, like Dogecoin, like and Shiba, like you were saying, I'm pretty sure they don't have the same security as Bitcoin, right? Because they don't have the blockchain technology.
I think they're secured through the Ethereum network.
Yeah, they work on the Ethereum network.
Yeah, they're built on the Ethereum network. I think that's how they work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's why like you need like Ethereum to buy them. So you can't just convert cash or your dollars from your bank into those coins. You gotta like buy Ethereum, then buy them.
Yeah, some exchanges like Coinbase, I think you can, but it still has to go through the Ethereum network.
Yeah.
Maybe it seems the illusion that you're buying in like cash, but not too sure how that works.
That's another thing though with like Coinbase. That technically makes like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency not decentralized.
Yeah,
it makes it centralized
because you're going through Coinbase.
Because when you buy from Coinbase, you're buying from them.
Yeah, from a centralized account. So
it's an online bank.
It defeats kind of the whole purpose of like, Bitcoin.
Yeah, and they recently just crashed because they put out this thing that if they go bankrupt, everything that you hold is theirs. It's like they keep it.
Really? They don't promise you to secure your.
At that point, why don't you just make the company go bankrupt on purpose?
Because people still hold like cryptocurrencies and Coinbase on like. But that brings me to like my next topic of like where the U.S. is going. Yeah. And like so we talked about how like 80% of like the U.S. dollar in circulation right now was created in 2020, and then like I would say like 90% of the U.S. dollar in circulation was created since 2008. If you look at any like $100 bills, the new ones, all from 2008.
I haven't seen the old ones.
One of them. Yeah. So the thing with fiat currencies, where they're not tied to like gold or anything like that. Yeah. They're just bound to be unable to use at a certain point. So they're bound for failure. Reagan took us off the gold standard in 1960, and then the U.S. dollar has been in decline ever since. And what I think is going to happen next year, where the economy is going, the U.S. dollar is going to be so at a certain point, it's going to be so useless that they're just going to come up with a new one, and this new currency is going to be in the form of a cryptocurrency. And you know why I think that is? Because what the government wants is control. Yeah. Right. That's why Biden says that you have to fill out a 1099, which is like a self-employed form. If you start like a small business and have $6 or more in transactions, because they want to tax that. So you have to have a 1099 for all these small things, even if you decide to sell brownies on the side.
Really?
Right? Yeah, and then try to keep up with your bills and stuff. You have to fill out a 1099. Which is a tax form that says that you were self-employed and then you have to pay tax on it.
The things you sell on eBay too. Yeah. Like eBay stock ads, if you sell more than 600, you gotta report it. Yeah. And then it screws you if you don't know what you're doing, because let's say you had $1,000 of eBay sale, and if you don't have the receipts for things you buy, they will just tax that $1,000. But if you do have receipts of things you buy, it's like, oh, I spent $500 on things I bought. Then you only gain $500. They only tax that.
Yeah. So and that brings me to my thing. Is like the U.S. is gonna. I really highly believe that they're gonna develop some type of cryptocurrency, U.S. cryptocurrency dollar, because the cash is gonna be a thing of the past, right? And now, since the government has all these transactions digitally, they can tax them. There's no escaping
because it links them, right?
If I sell you $50, the government is gonna know.
Oh yeah.
If you give me $100, and that's the reason why I think the U.S. dollar is going to be, if no more, the cash in the next 15 years, perhaps.
Wouldn't that make us go in a huge recession because of what happens to the banks?
They're still going to.
The banks will be there.
They're going to still be there, but we're just not going to have the same fiat currency that we have now, which is the U.S. dollar. Maybe it'll be a U.S. dollar 2.0 cryptocurrency.
And how would that work with loans?
It's the same thing.
Yeah, because you can get crypto loans now.
Okay.
Like you use your Bitcoin as collateral.
Really?
Yeah. But it's just going to be the same thing. And now the government can just see every single transaction. They're going to be able to create and destroy U.S. to battle inflation at its will. They're going to have almost complete control of the economy.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
And that's why I really think that we're probably going to see a U.S. cryptocurrency, backed by the government and an official. And that's when I see cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin. That's why I think that they're here to stay. And the same thing happened in Europe when you have the pound. You have all these things. If you look at the euro was created in 2008.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So
before that, they were split.
Yeah, everything was split. Pounds and I'm not sure what other
shillings.
There's pounds, and then what else do they use in Europe? I forget what other currencies, but not all the major neighbors, they use euros. And the euro was created in 2008 after the recession. And
how does that work? You just create it? Is it a 1-to-1 ratio? One pound equals
I don't know. I don't know how the specifics of it. I don't know how they managed to do that, but I'm pretty sure it took a while.
Like that, yeah.
But it did happen through a recession, because the recession that they created the euro.
That's why.
And a euro is worth more than a dollar.
It is worth more.
So maybe like the U.S. has like some plan, and I think they might be working on it right now. We really won't know.
Yeah.
The world is changing with technology.
Yeah.
The world is changing.
It's crazy how the euro is worth more, but then the dollar technically has more power than the euro.
Because a lot of countries have like the reserves in U.S. dollars.
And the oil.
Yeah, they sell the
US
oil
dollar.
in US
But
dollars.
they made it that way.
Yeah, they did.
The U.S. made it that way. You make the U.S. the world currency, or else. No.
But I heard that Saudi Arabia is gonna switch up their currency from selling in dollars to selling in yen.
In yen, in
Yeah.
China.
China's coming up.
Yeah,
China's a developing country.
Yeah.
Even though it's communist, it's really a developing country. Their infrastructure has changed a lot.
It's crazy what they did to the people. It was crazy the numbers of people under the poverty line.
Yeah.
I think it was like over 90% were in the
Really?
poverty
Yeah.
line.
Yeah.
Like in the 1980s, 1970s.
Like very recent, past 30 years.
Damn.
Or 90% of them.
Yeah, we're below like poverty. Yeah.
Because if you look at China, it's like most of their population is concentrated in like the cities, and like the rest is like unused. It's like forests and all that. So most of them were just living like outcasted, living like the old ways, and that's technically under the poverty line. Now with all the industrialization and everything, all the manufacturing going over there, everything came back up.
That's crazy.
And I think that's like, and even though it's like a communist country, like, I mean, communism has really never worked. I don't know if China is like an outlier. I know that living conditions in China are not as great as they are here, but the amount of progress that China as a whole has made in the past 20 to 25 years is really something to look into. You know, even the infrastructure, the buildings, the roads, the highways, trains, they're very, very efficient.
Their technology too.
Yeah, even Japan. I think Japan is probably one of the most like leading in infrastructure and like access to
Japan, North Korea as well. North Korea, even like the homeless people, they get money through like their cell phone. They barely use cash.
Really?
Yeah, like if you walk around with cash in North Korea, like.
You mean South Korea? North Korea.
South
I was like, North Korea, they're poor, they're dying. They have phones.
South Korea. In South Korea, everything is like you pay with your phone, no cash around.
And then I know that in China it's big to use this is like form of like WhatsApp, but I forgot what it's called. WeChat. It's called WeChat.
Yeah.
WeChat is like their main social media platform where it's like Messenger, Facebook, it's Cash App, all in one app.
What the hell? That sounds crazy.
It's like telephone number, everything is like in one. It's called WeChat.
Yeah. They also use Telegram a lot during the Tokyo, like the Tokyo protests and riots. They use Telegram a lot because it's encrypted. Everything was encrypted.
Really?
And the government will like track down like messages and calls, so track down the riots.
Damn. What were they writing for?
Telegram. It happened in Hong Kong because Hong Kong is an island.
Man, I'm gonna
flamed up. What are they doing in Tokyo?
I think it. Maybe the one in Tokyo, but the one that I heard from was in Hong Kong. That they would not try to be part of China. So it's like an island.
Okay.
And then China was trying to get Hong Kong to be part of China. But if that happens, all the regulations, communism, it's into place, and then people were trying to combat that.
It was like normal people, like they were making like homemade gas grenades.
Really?
They were making homemade weapons, homemade shields. And it was against like full on like police with shields and everything, and tanks too.
Jesus,
spraying them with water. It was crazy.
And this all happened during 2020.
It was recent.
I think I heard about that.
Yeah.
I thought that was Taiwan. That's something different.
It might be something different.
Yeah.
I know that. I don't know if it was Hong Kong or Taiwan. But yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like they were trying to become independent, and Chinese were like, no.
Yeah.
I think we might have gone a little bit off track.
Oh yeah.
What was the question again?
No, we're just talking about.
No, we're just talking about like the
currencies.
The currencies. Oh yeah.
I think this still relates to it. Like.
Yeah.
Before we go too deep in on the Chinese politics, I feel like what you were saying earlier with the cryptocurrency being like the new US dollar. I feel like in one, like on one hand it does make a lot of sense, but on the other hand it kind of like.
It's a hard concept to grasp.
It makes me wonder if it's even possible because of how volatile stuff like NFTs are.
No,
Yeah.
no, but like if the U.S. decides to roll out this cryptocurrency, it's gonna be more of a stable coin
Okay.
than anything
Mhm.
else. You know, if you look at the dollar right now, because you can go on the stock market exchange and do U.S. dollar to gold, which is really what people use to measure the value of U.S. dollar. Most of the majority of the time, it stays relatively the same. You know, you have these spikes when COVID hit and stuff like that. Yes, devalues, but
Yeah.
it stays relatively the same. So I figure that they might do something similar to it, where to test the value of like the U.S. dollar, probably kind of compare it to gold.
You think we'll be backed by gold again?
Never.
No, it's too
I don't
much.
think that happens. I don't think that would ever happen again.
A stable coin is basically just a crypto that stays.
Yeah, stay the same. It
It's
doesn't
not backed
change
by
in
anything.
No, it just stays the same price.
Yeah.
So there's stable
okay.
coins now where like it's $1.
Yeah.
And like, if
Always
you look at the
$1.
graph, it's always $1.
Yeah, and it's not gonna change.
Yeah, it's not gonna
Okay.
change.
But the whole reason why I think the U.S. would want to have roll out a coin like that
Yeah.
is because inflation's gonna get so bad at a certain point that we're not gonna be able to fight it, and the best alternative is just to create a new currency.
Yeah, I see that. I see that coming.
Well, if we don't change, it's gonna be like Zimbabwe again.
Look at what happened to Zimbabwe. Look what happened in Venezuela.
Yeah.
That's
So,
true. The $1 trillion bill.
yeah. and what happened during Russia during the 1940s, 1950s.
It's crazy. Happens way more often than I thought.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, any fiat currency is designed to eventually go to zero.
Eventually it goes down.
Yeah, it has like a lifespan.
The U.S. has been like the one that's lasted
The longest?
for the longest, one of the longest that has ever lasted.
But now with like, crypto and record inflation and all this money being printed, I just don't see like a way for the dollar to ever be.
Yeah, and the thing with like NFTs,
Yeah.
thing is, you can say the same thing about some of the world items that are worth a lot. They just have no value. It's like with the art, like paintings.
like
People buy
paintings,
paintings for millions and millions of dollars. It's just a painting, and there's a replica of the same exact thing. You can kind of see it that way.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
some
sense.
NFTs do offer values. Like there is the
The one with the ape?
Yeah,
The
the
Bored
ape.
Ape?
Yeah,
The Bored Ape,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Though that's a community.
Yeah.
It's like once you buy NFT, you get access to the communities of these millionaires, these celebrities, these billionaires, and you get access to that. There is a national park NFTs, where like it's NFTs of national parks,
Yeah.
and you get like I believe it's like free membership to like the national parks,
Really?
and like 10% off on like their shops and
Oh,
stuff.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so it does have more intrinsic value than what I thought. It was just like you're buying like
Yeah. And then I think the value that it gets from is the value that you really give it.
That everyone gives it as a
Yeah,
whole.
if everyone can agree that this NFT is worth $1,000, then that's what it is.
Just like paintings.
Yeah. Same thing with paintings.
You think NFTs are in a big bubble right now?
Oh yeah, definitely 100%.
It's gonna pop soon.
Yeah, and it's happening right now. A lot of people
Yeah.
are out. A lot of people bought NFTs a couple months ago for 10, 20 grand. They're worth like 5 grand now.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you look at, you remember even like the day, this is how I knew like the whole space was like already like, ready to blow when KSI bought $2.9 million worth of Luna. And a week later it was worth $1,000.
Jesus Christ.
And he tweeted out like, "Hey guys, I'm out. I sold $1,000. I lost $3 million.
Jesus Christ.
I'm gonna take a break from social media."
Well, I guess for me, my point of like when I'm like, nah, the space is too saturated. There's so
Yeah.
many things. Was when I started seeing virtual land.
Oh, on the metaverse?
Yeah. No, even before the metaverse, it was just virtual land that you can buy like this piece of land,
Oh my god.
and you can buy it. It's virtually. You own it, but it's virtual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. And then some of these were going for like $1 million, $1.5 million.
Like you can buy little squares. Like they divide the earth into like little squares and
Yeah.
little sections, and you can buy those sections.
How does that even work though? Like,
You just buy it, and it's yours.
I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
it's crazy. That's when it started getting a little bit more like silly. It went from like this whole like getting away from banks and stuff
Yeah.
like that to like owning like land and metaverse.
the Bored Ape.
Yeah, through yeah.
GG. I'm pretty sure the Bored Ape community even started their own coin.
Yeah, the Bored Ape coin. But I think that was a meme coin as well.
Yeah.
And then all these meme coins, they spike up and then they crash back down.
Yeah.
And the people that create these coins,
Yeah.
they cash out at the top.
They cash out.
They liquidate the whole market, and then when you want to sell, there's not enough funds.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy.
So
You
it's
can't
like
even
it's
sell.
a scam. It definitely is a scam.
Well, coin blew up when it came out after a show. It was a really popular show, and then they threw out coin based on it, and it blew up.
Oh, the Korean show.
Oh yeah,
Squid Game?
Squid Games.
It
That was a Squid Game coin. Yeah, Squid
it went
Coin.
from like,
No way.
it went from like 20 cents to like
Yeah.
$1,000.
Yeah.
Jesus.
And then the guy who created the coin, he liquidated at $1,000.
Mhm.
He became like a multi-millionaire, and then he screwed
He
everyone
did.
up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Squid Coin.
Gee.
And then I think it was worth like 0.00001.
Because anyone can make
Mhm.
a coin.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's how do you even like? That's crazy. I don't know how you even go about doing that. Like a NJT coin.
No, it's easy.
Is it?
Yeah.
You just have to
It's relatively easy.
market your coin to make sure that people buy it.
I feel like everyone's doing that nowadays with all these like fake coins.
Yeah, and that's why the market was saturated.
Yeah. So we talked about like basically how the U.S. is basically going into recession with housing markets going up, gas prices going up, even grocery prices going up, the cost of living shooting up, and like you said earlier, inflation's right at an all-time high. So let's say after the whole recession, what do you think do you think companies will still have the same amount of power they have after the recession when it comes to like factors like gas and that were like contributing to the reason, or houses, like basically like cost of living factors that contributed to why we went into recession in the first place? Or do you think it'll basically be the same thing but for like a new currency?
I guess it would be like really hard to say which companies are going to be at the top
Yeah.
for the recession. But if you look at past data, every time we have been in a recession, the market always bounces back and it breaks new all-time highs. So it really doesn't. The economy is going to bounce back. When we don't know, maybe 2-3 years, it's going to come back. Going to reach new all-time highs. It always has for the past like 100 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at data way back 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, to know which companies are going to be in power after that, it's really hard to say. And I think a great example is like during COVID, Zoom was worth like their market cap was worth twice as it was in Exelon,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And now Exxon is worth 10 times more than Zoom,
Jesus Christ.
and it happened in the
Like
span
that.
of 18 months.
Damn.
So you see how like these companies like the market cap switches, that it's really hard to say in 2-3 years from now which companies are going to be at the top.
And it's hard to predict because
Yeah.
with Skype and Zoom, like
Yeah.
Skype has been going on for years. People
Yeah, they
didn't
had a
know
lead.
Skype.
Yeah.
They had like a year's lead, and then they still lost to Zoom,
Yeah.
which just popped out of nowhere.
It's really hard to say which companies. All the companies are never going to go away. Energy companies are never going to go away.
Yeah.
The what's it called, not the army, but like the whole like
Defense.
the defense industry, the defense
Mhm.
complex, it's never going to go away. So Lockheed Martin, they're never going to go away. Exxon, they're going to be here for a long time. They have been here for a very long time.
Mhm.
I don't think this changes anything. If anything, it probably gives them more power
Yeah.
because they're at the top right now,
Yeah.
and everyone is like at the bottom.
Yeah, the ones that always change the most is companies that offer products to like
Yeah.
the regular consumer.
Yeah.
It's like, it's like,
Like commodities and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Okay.
yeah, it's like, for example, like Samsung. Someone just needs to make a better TV, and like they'll start leading. Eventually, they'll take over. Things like that.
So then if we know there's a recession on the way, or we think there's a recession on the way, what steps can we give the audience so that they can better prepare themselves so that they don't end up bankrupt or without money?
I think your best bet right now, if you are short on, if you know that you have bills to pay, your best bet right now is probably just holding cash, like not investing in anything, not buying anything. Your best bet right now is probably just holding cash to have like a safety net if you ever do go under.
All right.
Because right now I don't believe it's the time to buy. We're not even at the worst. Things are going to keep dropping. Stock market is going to keep dropping. Gas is going to keep going up. Rents are going to. The best bet right now is just hold cash.
Yeah. Also, because when when recessions do happen,
Yeah.
the people with cash are the ones that come out.
Yeah,
But
because they're able to buy.
Yeah, like 2008 recession when houses were dirt cheap.
Yeah.
The people that had cold cash, here I can give you $200,000 right here, right now.
Damn.
Yeah.
Because that's what people would need in those times, you know?
Yeah.
People don't need a 30-year loan. They need the money now.
Mm.
Here, I have the money right now. Give me the house.
Yeah. And if you play your cards right,
Yeah.
you can come out on top
Mm-hmm.
through a recession.
You can take advantage of it.
Yeah, recessions usually create new millionaires.
Yeah.
They destroy and create new millionaires.
Damn.
It's a shift in money.
That's an update.
Yeah. So if you're really smart and you hold cash and
Yeah.
you have a good safety net,
Mm.
things are gonna come dropping. That's the time to buy assets.
Mm.
It's not right now.
It's everywhere because look at all these collections, all these
Yeah.
card collections, baseball cards, all these paintings, all these,
All of that.
Yeah.
all of that is that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Who the hell wants to buy a baseball card
Yeah.
when you're struggling to
Pay
pay?
rent.
It's digital baseball cards,
Yeah.
NFTs.
You know?
Yeah. And there was this guy who I used to follow on YouTube. He was a car collector.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he bought a Porsche 911.
Mm.
The Porsche 918 Spider.
Mm.
And he said that car dropped to like $280,000
Yeah.
during like 2008 or maybe to like 2010, 2012 when the viewers started getting backed up.
Mm.
Yeah.
He sold it in 2018, 2019
Mhm.
for almost $2 million.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
All these baseball cards are going to be
Yeah.
dirt cheap. You buy them, hold them for a couple of years.
You're like, please.
They'll come back up. They'll come back up.
And it's really hard to know
Like what can go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard. You
Yeah.
can't
Because if you
predict
do it,
it.
everyone will be rich. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
But yeah, with
Your
that
best
being,
bet is always going to be real estate.
even
but-
after the inflation,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's houses.
In this real estate, it's like something. It's
like a necessity.
necessary. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
necessary.
Mhm.
And if you own a couple of them, you can maybe you can live comfortably.
mm,
Yeah, but it's not right now. Like houses are still the same.
yeah.
Yeah,
You think it's like at a peak right now? It's gonna go down, or it's gonna keep going up?
I don't. Sadly, like people say, like
People are saying it's at a peak.
yeah,
right now.
people are saying like, oh, we're gonna have like this 20-40% drop in real estate.
Yeah.
Like all these like TikTok gurus and
Mhm.
the real estate market. I honestly don't think the stock market is ever gonna go down, unless like something like 2008 happens
Mm.
and everybody just loses their home. But
Yeah.
the difference between now,
Mhm.
2008, is that people can afford the homes they have now.
Mm.
Even though they're expensive, they can still
Mhm.
afford them.
Yeah.
Because the problem with 2008 is that the banks were lending out money to people who
everyone
couldn't
who
afford
couldn't.
afford a $200,000.
Yeah, like the problem was directly related to
Mhm.
to like houses.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this problem is not directly related to houses.
Mm. Yeah. So like if you were making $60,000 in 2008,
Yeah.
they will give you like $1 million home, even though you couldn't afford it.
Damn.
Mhm.
At least you live comfortably for
Yeah.
a week.
Yeah. And it's not happening right now, and that's why I don't think like we're gonna see like a
Mm.
big decline and people just selling homes and stuff like that. It's really hard to picture that would happen when people can afford their homes now.
All right. With that being said, that concludes part 2
Yeah.
of the episode. Thank you guys once again for joining in, tuning in, listening to
Thank
us,
you, guys.
using us,
Thank you,
talking about the
Jesus.
economy.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you for joining. And as always, guys, thank you for joining us as we take one step closer into infinity.
Thank you guys.
See you guys.